Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monday's Market Outlook. Didn't take a couple days off, always working, man. But my oldest son, Matthew, turned 20 on April 25th. My mom, and thank you for all your thoughts and prayers. I do believe they work. She was picked up from the hospital today by my sister Kia after successful cancer surgery in the COVID capital of the world. So very celebratory. Susie turns X years old today. I'll leave it at that. So end of April is always a busy time in the Buckley household. Actually 29 years ago today, I was commissioned as an ensign in the United States Navy. So very 29, 39. Right? How the whole, no, what am I? I'm 51. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, whatever. Anyway, folks, so sorry I took some time to get my mind right. Went flying the other day, did a 3-ship out and in. I think we're actually, there's a couple cities over on the West Coast and maybe East Coast of Florida that aren't going to get the Blue Angel or Thunderbird treatment that are asking for us to do a 3-ship flyby of their towns to say thanks to all the medical first responders. So that might be pretty cool. So might be doing some flybys of Florida. Anyway, let's stop talking turkey here. On Friday at 1 o'clock, we're going to do a brief on Amazon. Head to go.topgunoptions.com/solo-brief. Why Friday at 1 o'clock? Because Thursday at 4:31 or whatever the actual time is, Amazon's coming out with earnings. I think Amazon is going to destroy it. Rumor is they are making $10,000 a second. I mean, think about their business, man. You're using Amazon Web Services right now probably to look at this. You probably used Zoom earlier. You ordered something from Amazon. I mean, they're in everything, folks. Amazon's just going to, I think, have blowout earnings. So the day after Amazon reports earnings, I'm going to knock out a free brief and tell you how we're going to target Amazon going forward. I mean, I predicted it's a $3,000 stock easily by the end of the year, and it is on track. Look at that. Rip your face off rally, man. It's almost after hours, look at that. It's almost a $2,400 stock. It's easily $3,000 by the end of the year, especially with a October, November, December Santa Claus rally if we're all let out of prison by then. So head to go.topgunoptions.com/solo-brief, and you can register for free to attend on Friday. Make sure you register at least. Drop your name and email in there, and I'll get you a copy of the recording. I got to hurry because I'm getting ready for the presidential shit show, whatever time that comes on today. The president said he's done with these briefings. It's, finally he got some sense that, first of all, it shouldn't have been about him. You don't appoint somebody to be in charge of something and then don't let them be in charge. He should have put Mike Pence in charge like he said he did and gotten out of the way. Did a drive-by every once in a while, maybe hi, press the flesh. Well, you can't do that. Kiss babies, can't do that either. But not be him, which is physically impossible for him to not be him, but he should have at least tried. So now he had a little bit of a temper tantrum today about, I'm not doing these briefs anymore. They just turn into shit shows. I wonder why. And don't give me this, well, the media, it's the liberal media, and the media goes after him. If you're not a grown adult male who can't see an ambush coming, but I think he just loves walking into the ambushes just to, hey, remember, when you wrestle with a pig, the pig has fun and you get dirty. And I'll leave it at that. But the reason I'm on that little bit of a rant is because as a country, folks, we're trying to debate how quickly we can open, right? And speaking of the president all over the place, at the beginning of the week, last week, he was like more or less tweeting to residents of 3 states to engage in civil disobedience. Even with his Virginia tweet, he mentioned the Second Amendment. What was he getting at? Overthrow the governor? And then the next day, the Georgia governor says, hey, man, we're going to reopen. And at the presidential daily shit show, he rips the governor of Georgia apart for reopening and says he doesn't agree with it. Well, I can't. I can't follow what's going on, man. It's, it clearly wants to take credit for good things that happen and then shift all the blame to the governors that bad that happened. So here we are in the middle of this debate about how quickly we can reopen. We have to, folks. We absolutely have to. Now, do me a favor. Make sure you're sitting down. I briefed you that this was happening behind the scenes. And now here comes the parade of boats that you own, or you should, but you never will. I can't stand how commentators are wrong, like some of the idiots on CNBC, right? Well, we made money on the AIG bailout. No, we didn't. We bailed out AIG the first time around in 2008 to the tune of $182 billion. By the time the U.S. Treasury, which I thought was sold the stock, $22 billion. Let me ask you all a question. Did you get a check? You didn't. So don't tell me, quote, we bailed out AIG and we made money on it, tall dude with big ears on CNBC. You're wrong. The United States Treasury made money. You didn't see a dime. I didn't see a dime. Why am I ranting about this? Because the Federal Reserve saved Carnival Cruise Lines. The shitty foreign flagged cruise vessels. The reason they're foreign flagged, they get away from taxes, they get away from OSHA requirements, they get away with bloody murder. Did you see them crawling to Liberia or wherever the hell their freight or their ships are tagged asking for a bailout? It's a disgrace. Did you get bailed out yet? Oh, that's right. You're a small business owner. You go to the back of the line. I don't care how much the president or Secretary Mnuchin say until they're blue in the face that small businesses are the backbone of this country. When all the banks bailed out, bailed out. How do you bail out a public company that has shareholders and access to the debt markets? I am furious at this. I would have never gone on a cruise ever in my life to begin with. It's a floating petri dish. Now they're floating coffins. And by the way, you ready for this? This was in Bloomberg a couple weeks ago. Socially distance this. Look at that cruise ship. You know what Carnival Cruise executives knew they had a virus problem, but kept the party going anyway and resulted in, I don't know how many people died because of them, and they kept packing the ships. Why? We gotta earn the Benjamins, baby. It's an absolute disgrace. Bail out the airlines, bail out the cruise ships, bail out everybody, but don't bail out small businesses. I'm still talking to people who are waiting to hear on their small business getting some money. And only in America would people call stimulus money you gave to the government getting some of it back. Can you believe that our government bailed out the cruise ship industry? Even it's a disgrace. I'm beside myself. But Wiz, you have preached to us that the stock market is not the economy. You are damn right. There are only 5 stocks right now making up the majority of the gains in the S&P 500. It's the FAGM: Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet. I call it Google. Let's just call them MAGA. I can't stand Facebook. Microsoft, Apple, Google, Apple. Or Amazon, I'm sorry, whatever. That's it. That's making up this rally, folks. Be very, very careful here, okay? We're starting to see more bankruptcies, even though people should be going bankrupt and not getting bailed out. A second wave could hit this year as companies labor under the weight of new debt. It is nuts out there right now. Markets diverge in assessing the economic freeze. So stocks right now are showing a quick return to growth while the oil markets are pricing in a larger downturn. It is absolutely ugly out there. I had an article up at the beginning I didn't show you, but it essentially said like 200,000 retail investors got wiped out due to USO. I woke up last week, folks, early. I saw what was going on, and I sent out a text and an email alert, and I rarely do that in case of emergency. I'm like, do not trade USO. Stop. If you're in it, get out of it immediately. I got emails and texts from people that essentially saved their life, saved their savings. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe I have to say this. Do not do anything that you don't know what you're doing. I was getting emails or in the live chat rooms last week like, hey, I'm going to buy USO down here. I'm like, oh, for the love of God, you're going to die. You have no idea what USO. Oh, my buddy said oil's low, so I should buy this ETF. Man, investing is a self-cleaning oven, and hopefully you didn't. So here we are, folks. We're in QE forever, right? The Fed's just going to keep on plugging money into this market. We're going to bail out crappy companies, cruise ships. Really? I'm not kidding, folks. On my Facebook page, people are. We bailed out a cruise ship company that's not even an American company. Well, their headquarters is in Miami, Wiz. Where are they flagged, folks? Their, quote, corporate headquarters might be in Miami because that's the biggest cruise ship port in the world. They're headquartered somewhere else to avoid our taxes, but they just took your tax money to bail themselves out. So, where are we? Bullish? Ooh, Jeffrey Gundlach on CNBC today. Jeffrey Gundlach is shorting the market. Says a retest of the lows down here, the 2200-ish lows in March are absolutely within reach and possible. He also railed on everything, on the bailing out of cruise ships and bailing out of airlines. Folks, we don't need 15 airlines or however many there are. That's a fact. Sorry to all my airline buddies that have jobs at maybe some of these ones that need. Things need to be able to fail. Donald Trump should know that based on all of his bankruptcies, but now we don't. There's no such thing as hell. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets a bailout, unless, of course, you're a small business owner. Telling you what, man, my buddies who own restaurants could give a shit if Spirit Airlines goes out of business. They ain't hopping on an airliner anytime soon to go flying when they're bankrupt. But in other fantastic news that you'll be happy with, coronavirus made America's biggest banks even bigger. Ready for this? As of this was last week, I'll bet you this is probably $12 billion by now. Small business rescue earned banks $10 billion in fees. That's, of course, as they were loaning money to all these public companies or to $100 million companies instead of my barber. JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs all prioritized their biggest customers first. They didn't ask questions. And now they're all kind of slowly crawling back and kind of giving the money back to the bank. Yeah, like, actually, we don't need this. We just freaking took it. And, oh, by the way, you ready for this disgusting Wall Street news? Folks, I warned. I'm actually, if it seems like I'm angry, I'm actually less angry than I was in 2008. I was in the Board of Trade. I was in the SIBO options exchange at the height of the financial crisis. I was at ground zero, folks, in Chicago. You know what I said on the Options News Network at the time? I said, let it burn. It has to burn. Banks need to be able to, people need to be able to feel pain to know. No. I warned a great moral hazard was coming. I'm not Nostradamus. My call sign's Wiz, not Nostradamus, but I knew this was going to happen, and here we are. You guys want to hear something that'll really piss you off? Your small business applies for a loan through Chase. They deny it. Guess what? Cha-ching. They just charged the government for processing your loan. It was declined. Doesn't matter. They still get a process. Cha-ching. And then I have buddies who were declined initially who have gotten emails because the political heat's on like, hey, do us a favor and resubmit your loan. Cha-ching again. Banks are getting richer and richer and richer as America's getting more poor. 20 million-ish, 30 million-ish Americans out of work, and the banks are printing money. You awake yet? Oh, here's that headline. 200,000 retail investors hoping to buy the effing dip in USO end up just getting effed. So another reason why I took a couple days is because I can't. And most of you watching this know me. Hey, man, I guess I'm considered part of the evil 1%. But as part of the, quote, evil 1%, I see the disparity, and it's heartbreaking. But don't give me any shit of being in the evil 1%. I was in the 0%, man. I was on Texas state unemployment when I lost my airline job. And I went from being on unemployment to essentially help run a $3 billion options trading firm. And that now I started my own business 10 years ago. You can pull yourself up from the bootstraps. Ain't nobody bailing out the Buckley family when we lived in Keller, Texas, but me and my wife waiting tables in an Italian restaurant. Now, everybody runs around with their hands out. It's destroying this country, my fellow Americans. There's no such thing as free. I can't stand Mitt Romney even more now, but yeah, I want my vote for him and McCain taken back. But anyway, I'll never forget. He had a great point when he was running against Obama. He's like, how can you run against Santa Claus? How do you run? How do you run as an adult? How do you run as somebody who says that shit ain't free? But I'm one to talk. Look at the Republican Party right now. You can't even believe the staggering amount of debt that we're in right now. We're bankrupt. Our country's essentially bankrupt, right? But at least Ruth Chris and Fogo de Chao and these biotech companies. How about that solar company up in Illinois that was like going out of business? It was charged with fraud or whatever a couple of years ago, and they mysteriously got some like $20 million loan out of the blue. Wasn't due to coronavirus that you suck and we're going out of business, but now you get so it's just. I'm telling you, man. This whole Monday market outlook was me speaking as an American, as me wearing a flight suit, and as Gordon Gekko. You ready for this? Good. I don't care. I'm going to trade this market. I'm going to make more money, and I'm going to have a freaking blast on the stupidity and pain of others. Is that what we really want? Well, that's what I'm going to teach you to do. The people here at Top Gun Options are having an absolute blast. And we are ready in the blink of an eye for this thing to roll inverted and implode. If we do, I'm going to go in the blink of an eye, in the blink of a statement, to bearish and pound this thing into the dirt. I predicted this would be a W. You ready? Down, up, down. I mean, we broke through this 50-day moving average here, so you think it would be a little bullish, but we didn't break through it with conviction. And 140 S&P 500 companies are reporting earnings this week, from Caterpillar, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft. So I think we're going to chop this week. But there's a reckoning a-coming, folks. Do we all just smoke the Fed hopium and go higher? Or do we recognize that 30 million, 40 million Americans out of work puts us into a depression and this market starts to reflect reality? I don't know. But here at Top Gun Options, I'm going to teach you. Once we get an answer, we're gonna light the afterburners and pound it either higher or into the dirt. Join me Friday if you want to learn how to do this stuff. It ain't rocket surgery, folks. If I can do it, you can do it. I got Marines doing this shit. Go.topgunoptions.com/solo-brief. Join me Friday for a free brief at 1 o'clock, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with Amazon. Amazon's just absolutely insane. One other thing before I go, look at the VIX, the volatility index. It had been hovering up here in the 40s. I said it's got a 40s the new normal. It broke big time down today, so this technically should be a bullish signal. But right now, I got one eye, or one hand, so to speak, on the ejection handle. Okay? All right, I got to get going. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'll see many of you in the primary live trade brief. God bless. We'll see you.